Welcome to David's Rebel Coding podcast. So we're going to look at how to go underground with our newspaper. So if you want to publish something from your local community borough, all you need to do is come to a website like this, and then you can just register, create a new account. So I'll just walk you through the process of creating an account for Gen API, which will allow you to publish your own newspaper. So if we register, you'll get two keys. Now I'm going to copy these down because it's easy to forget what they are, and we're going to need to reference these later. So my admin key, I'm going to save in a variable, and then my public key, I want to save in another variable so that I have these two keys, not to get confused between them. Then what I'm going to do is, because all of the different systems rely on the API key, we're going to go ahead and set the admin key so we can be a creator. We can create tables and pretty much do whatever we want with the system. So let me paste this in here. I save the key. Now what happens is I'm going to close that down, and then what I'm going to do is go to the integrated development environment and get started. So let's time it. Let's see how long it takes. So let's just go to the free timer, and I'll start the timer. Okay, so here you're coding now. So basically you've got a split view, and you've got the preview on the right, and you can see what's on the left. Okay, so I'm going to copy the two keys that we just registered, so these ones aren't valid anymore. And now, basically, if you want to make a dynamic website, you have a declarative programming language you can work with, a template engine, if you will. And so to create that database using just JSON, you can just post to MySQL your articles, and then that should create the database for us. So if we were to go into the MySQL workbench, we can see if that database did indeed get created. And if I do a select on it, you'll see that we got the two articles that I have in the JSON are shown up in a dynamically created database. And we automatically have an application programming interface that is set up that will allow us to query and filter the data. So we can just use the get MySQL afterwards, and that will get the data for us. And then what we can do is we can set a variable like our newspaper articles to that data set after we get the data. If you just want to get, you can add some more parameters, but for now we just get the articles. The next thing is that if you want to, let's first display a loop that will just show you how you can dynamically show data on the web page. So right now we've just got the title showing up. Now we want to show the attributes of the dynamic article newspaper that we have. So we've got here's an example. We're just showing the articles embedded with the HTML, and you can get your own kind of HTML developed the way you want as a designer. So this other one will just, I'm going to look for a loop that will show us what the keys and values are. So let me copy this. And I just want to show you, if you, then after we develop the newspaper, you want to hide security for the public user. So as an admin, you can see all the fields. But let's say this was a sources field that led to the source of the article, which of course you want to keep a secret because, you know, lives are at stake, and that's the cutthroat business of newspaper publishing. So let's hide last updated. So if you wanted to go do that, first I'm going to get my keys ready because I'm going to need them. So I'm going to need to log in to the policies page first. So I'm going to need each of the two keys. So let's go to the policies page, policy permissions for users. I'll enter my admin key to begin with, and this will allow me access to the policies. Then I'll get ready because it's going to prompt me for the user's key. So I'm going to get Mickey's key here, and then I'm going to put in Mickey's key. We're going to add a policy for Mickey Mouse that we don't want him to see the last updated timestamp is. So for the articles table, I want to block access to last updated. And I'm going to save changes. Now currently you can see the last updated. So if you go back to the website, you can still see it. Even if I refresh the page, it reloads everything, you can still see it. But as soon as I switch over to Mickey's key, so if I go into the API key manager and we switch keys now, we're on 44 for the admin key, but we switch that to Mickey's key, which is 98. I save that. And now if I refresh the browser, you'll see that this last updated should disappear because we've restricted access to it. So you'll never be able to get access to that component. You won't be able to post the date, and that at a very granular level per column on the database, you can restrict what users have access to what. So this is a powerful feature. And then you just go and develop now, because we've created the database schema, and we don't want the user to affect change to the schema. So our schema is pretty solid at this point, and whatever we do in the coding should work just fine. So we're 5 minutes into the project. Now let's go back to our integrated development environment and just work on the template. So I'm going to make sure this is okay. That looks good. And then this we don't need anymore because we've already seeded the database. And then we'll just go back to the HTML, and then all we have to do basically is work on the kind of template that we want to display for this newspaper publishing. So you can work with whatever your AI provider is, or Gemini or something like that, and you can work on a layout that you like. So if I find one, I'll let you know. So let me see if I can find my layout. Where did I put that thing? So I think right here. Oh yeah, try this one here. Copy. Maybe this one. Let's try. Yeah, that's pretty good. So there it is. So now we have a dynamically driven database application with granular security, and we're all up and running from the time that we registered as a new user to the system to actually developing our newspaper community outreach, newspaper we publish a newspaper, local community newspaper. We're finished in 6 minutes. So we'll stop that. And then there it is. So that's all there is to it. And of course, you can do whatever you do in JavaScript. It's pretty easy. You learn a little bit of HTML and JavaScript. It gives you access to all of the Oracle Java security infrastructure that Java is so famous for, that is trusted by big banks and big corporations. And now you have access to that technology with very little effort, just working on a declarative language front end. So just think about that for a moment. And if you like it, just click like and subscribe. Click down below, leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoy this video.